Now, excitement is building in the Horn of Africa nation Somaliland after comments by the US President Donald Trump on Friday. Somaliland declared independence in 1991, but it's yet to win official recognition from any UN member state. And Somalia insists the province is still part of its territory. Just across the water from Houthi-controlled Yemen, democratic Somaliland borders the strategic Gulf of Aden. Well, let's take a listen to those comments from President Trump.
We're looking into that right now. Good question, actually, and another complex one, as you know, but we're working on that right now. Somaliland.
Somaliland, from the mouth of President Trump. Well, to talk more about that, we're joined by Saeed Ibrahim. He's the founder and editor of the Somaliland Chronicle. Welcome to the programme, Saeed. Good to see you. So make the case for those who don't know. Why should the United States and other countries recognise Somaliland?
Well, that's a really good question. And again, I'm glad you played the clip of the president and you know, how he's, I mean, this is not the best sort of kept secret, but rather actually something that's pretty, public, that even the president himself is sort of thinking about. So Somaliland has actually, basically what we say is we have regained our independence because, it's not like that Somalia was actually part of Somalia in the beginning, but instead they were actually two separate countries that united. And that unification has not actually fared well for the people of Somaliland because the dictator Saeed Ibrahim basically tried to wipe us off the map, as it were. Those are the exact sort of genocidal, words they used.
Saeed Ibrahim, just for those who don't know, was the Somali dictator who basically committed genocide against Somalilanders and others in the region.
100%, exactly. So because of that, in 1991, when Somalilanders kind of fought back and, won their independence, by the spilled blood, we decided, you know what, we don't want to be part of that. So, we actually reestablished the Republic of Somaliland. And again, back in the 60s, when we gained our independence from Britain, there were over, I think, 30 plus countries that recognized the, Somaliland. That included, the United States and a bunch of other countries. So it's not a new phenomenon. It's simply restating the fact that, we're back, we're here. But again, that has been 30 years. Just to put the cherry on top, there's a lot of countries that actually do business with Somaliland, even though they don't recognize it. And that includes none other than the United Arab Emirates.
Yeah, the United Arab Emirates has invested. Taiwan, I see, also enjoys good relations with Somaliland. Let's fast forward to today, though. Your southern neighbour, Somalia, it's a terrorist hub. It's racked by conflict. It's essentially a failed state. How has Somaliland been able to build things so differently? It's democratic. It is a poor country, I think it's fair to say, but it is a country that is peaceful and stable. How have you managed to do that?
So it's actually like an organic democracy, if you will, because, if you look at some of the systems that we have in place, they may seem a little bit strange to some people because, again, the tribal system is still pretty central and plays a huge role in even politics, which is, but again, it still gives people, the freedom to actually vote, right, for their favorite candidate, regardless of, right? But stepping back in 1991, one of the first things that Somaliland did, it actually started off with the right foot of actually having all of the component tribes coming together and actually deciding their fate and saying, we are going to be an independent country that's democratic, that has its own constitution, elections, and everything else. And elections have been actually improving to the point where, I mean, the current president, who's, I think, in office 8 months, beat his predecessor, right? The sitting president at the time, with a landslide of about 60% of the vote. Never happens. And again, it's kind of a phenomena that is very rare, especially in the region we are, where, you have Djibouti, this is their only second president since the republic was established. Ethiopia does not have, free and democratic elections. It's parliamentary, and so on and so forth. I think Kenya is a close second. But With that said, the idea was always to, live, with peace with your neighbors and just make sure everybody actually has what is there. So that kind of worked out.
There's a certain level of trust in Somaliland as society. I think we can see that. It is in a very strategic location on the Gulf of Aden, and we can see all of the trouble in the Red Sea at the moment with the Houthis across the water in Yemen attacking global commerce as it tries to pass through to the Red Sea. Just talk us through the regional perspective, because you've got powerful actors, haven't you, like Turkey and Egypt, who are really against Somaliland independence. Turkey's a strong ally of Somalia, and Egypt is Ethiopia's arch foe. Somaliland has good relations with Ethiopia. How do you think that a little country that's struggling for recognition can counter these very powerful forces?
It's very difficult, and I think you missed China, the biggest of all, right? Because again, China has been sort of pursuing Somaliland into almost a fatalistic, focus since it established its diplomatic ties with the Republic of China or Taiwan. And again, recently, one of the things they've been doing, China is, they're usually sort of standoffish in terms of their, their on the ground or kinetic engagement. But I think Somaliland is one of the first places where they're actually experimenting with, sort of actually funding and arming, some fringe groups on the east. And again, this is something that, Senator Ted Cruz has actually, warned about in a recent testimony. Now, and you're absolutely right. On, the side of Somalia, they have a powerful patron state by way of Turkey. And unfortunately, Turkey is not doing anything for free. They own, I think, about 100% of Somalia's natural resources, and Somalia has signed those things over to actually steal the now defunct, Somaliland Ethiopia MOU. So, there's a lot of, well invested interests that actually are sort of, don't want to see an independent Somaliland because, they think it's actually, it's taken something away from them. And that something is that strategic waterway you talked about, 850 kilometers of it.
Yeah, it's a fascinating story, and I hope you'll join us again, Saeed, to talk more about the prospect for Somaliland independence. Saeed Ibrahim, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.